In the shadowed chambers of a Roman villa, young Publius Cornelius Scipio tossed in his sleep. The weight of the Roman Republic pressed upon him like the yoke of an ox. As the moon hung high over the eternal city, the nightmares clawed their way into his mind. Hannibal's Carthaginian horde swept down from the Alps like a vengeful storm. Scipio's father, the consul Publius, charged at the forefront, his sword flashing in defiance. A Numidian spear suddenly pierces his side.
Father!
He charged forward, shield raised against the hail of arrows, his blade carving a path through the enemy ranks. The river ran red, and the vision faded, but the scar of that day burned anew on Scipio's soul. 80,000 Roman legionaries marched toward their oblivion. He barely escaped the slaughter, rallying the ragged band of survivors.
So many dead.
From the abyss of Cannae emerged the third specter, Hannibal himself.
Come, boy. I wait for you at the gates of Rome.
Finally, in the realm between life and death stood the apparitions of his father and uncle, both slain in the Iberian campaign against Hannibal's brothers. Their forms shimmered and eyes burned with unearthly fire.
Publius, avenge us. End this Barca curse.
It was just a dream.
The Second Punic War saw the Empire of Carthage face off against the regional power of Rome. The Carthaginian general Hannibal Barca embarked on one of history's most infamous military feats. He would lead an army of over 60,000 men, including 9,000 cavalry and 37 war elephants. He would take this army across the dangerous Alps and into the heart of Rome. After crossing the Alps, Hannibal struck quickly. At the Battle of Trebia River, he killed 40,000 Romans. Then, Hannibal marched south, killing 15,000 at the Battle of Lake Trasimene. And in the most infamous battle in Roman history, Hannibal slaughtered the Roman army, killing 70,000 men. Although Hannibal defeated Roman decisive battles, he didn't have enough men to take the Eternal City itself. He decided to head south and raid the countryside, waiting for Carthage to send more troops and supplies. But his enemies in Carthage's Senate were dragging their feet. "My lords, Hannibal requests more troops."
"We've given him enough already. The Barcans are too powerful as it is."
Now this is what makes Rome truly great. While most nations would have certainly surrendered after such massive defeats. 20% of the military-aged men died at the Battle of Cannae alone. Rome's superpower was never giving up. They were the Rocky Balboa of the ancient world.
Yo, Adrian! I did it!
As Hannibal's devastating invasion marched throughout Italy, it required Rome to enact an emergency provision, electing a dictator. This would fall to former consul Quintus Fabius, who would be later known as the Delayer. Fabius unveiled his revolutionary approach, the Fabian strategy. No grand battle plans, no heroic charges. Instead, he would shadow Hannibal's army relentlessly, cutting off supplies and scorching the earth as he went. He would wear down Hannibal's army through attrition. Now, even though Fabian's critics called him a coward and he faced mockery and political backlash, it bought Rome just enough time to rebuild their armies, secure alliances, and avoid further disasters like Cannae. By 215 BC, Fabius had stepped down, but his tactics massively influenced the outcome of the war. In the wake of their defeat in the First Punic War, Carthage turned their eyes to Iberia. Under Hannibal Barca, Hannibal's father, Carthage expanded its empire and conquered territories rich in resources in order to pay back their debt to the Romans. Hamilcar also founded the Iberian capital of New Carthage, establishing a stronghold that would fuel his ambition against Rome. Economically, Iberia was a gold mine. Literally. Its southern regions boasted vast silver deposits and gold, providing the wealth to mint coins and pay mercenaries. This mineral boom transformed Carthage's economy, funding military campaigns and trade networks across the Mediterranean Sea. Now, Iberia didn't just have gold and silver. The land offered iron ore for weapons, timber for ships, and fertile plains for grain and livestock. Iberian tribes, such as the Celtiberians, were master blacksmiths, renowned for crafting high-quality swords, equipping Hannibal's diverse army with superior weapons. New Carthage only had one way in, one way out, as it was surrounded on three sides by water, making Hannibal and Carthage believe that the city could not be taken. Scipio's father and uncle were leading the armies in Iberia when they were ambushed and killed by Hannibal's generals, Hannibal, Mago, and Gisco. Back in Rome, the Senate faced a crisis. The Scipio brothers' campaign in Iberia had ended in disaster, and with Hannibal wreaking havoc in southern Italy, no one was willing to step forward and take charge.
Will no one take the fight to Carthage?
I think Gaius wants to go.
I will. Publius, you're too young to lead. I will avenge my father and uncle. For Rome.
Arriving in Iberia with 10,000 fresh troops and 1,000 cavalry, Scipio swiftly reorganized demoralized troops. He reinstilled discipline and boosted morale. In Iberia, Hannibal left his 3 generals, Hannibal, Mago, and Gisco. They were all preparing to gather their forces to crush the newly arrived Roman general. Scipio would make the first move, an unexpected one. His first target would not be the Carthaginian army, but would be at the heart of their supplies, New Carthage. Scipio began the march on New Carthage, telling no one, not even his own men, where they were going until they reached the walls of the city. The garrison laughed at Scipio from atop the walls. Besieging the city would take months, especially as New Carthage was impregnable. All the forces of the city needed to do is wait the 10-day march for Hannibal, Mago, and Gisco to arrive. However, Scipio knew of a secret weakness. The waters around the city would recede at low tide. At dawn the next day, the moment the waters receded, Scipio launched a surprise attack. He dispatched 500 elite troops with ladders. They waded the lagoon undetected and scaled the unguarded north wall.
Shit!
They fought to the east gate, and as they arrived, they opened it, and the entire Roman army poured into New Carthage. In one day, the Carthaginian capital in Iberia had fallen. In a panic, Hannibal marched his forces to meet Scipio. Upon seeing Scipio's army, Hannibal retreated to a nearby hill and made camp. He would wait for Mago and Gisco to join forces. Scipio launched a 3-sided surprise attack that completely enveloped Hannibal's army. Hannibal's forces were crushed as he fled to the Balearic Islands. 1 general down, 2 to go. After Hannibal's defeat, Gisco and Mago decided to join forces at Ilipa in southern Iberia. They gathered a truly massive force of 70,000 men. Meanwhile, the entirety of Scipio's army only numbered around 45,000. Outnumbering them 2 to 1, Gisco and Mago were confident they would crush this Roman upstart. Scipio decided to meet his enemy head-on and marched his army to meet the Carthaginians. Both forces lined up in formation. The Carthaginian army put their elite African infantry in the center and their allied Iberian tribesmen on the flanks. Scipio mirrored his foes, placing his elite Roman troops in the center and his Iberian allies on the flanks. For 3 days, each morning the armies would form up in this fashion. Both sides were too cautious to launch the attack. Finally, at dawn on the 4th day, Scipio launched a surprise attack on the Carthaginian camp. The Roman skirmishers rained javelins and stones into the enemy tents, causing panic and disorder in the ranks. Gisco and Mago ran out of their tents and hurried onto the battlefield. The Carthaginians, hungry and tired, lined up with their same standard formations. However, Scipio had reversed his lineup. His elite Romans were now on the flanks, and his Iberians had took the center. His troops were fed, awake, and ready for vengeance. As Scipio ordered his army forward, the elites charged into Gisco and Mago's Iberians, cutting them down. The African infantry, unable to help their allies, were pinned down by Scipio's Iberians, ready to charge at any moment. Scipio's Romans then executed a double envelopment. The African infantry was surrounded and destroyed. Scipio had done to Carthage what Hannibal had done to Rome. Ilipa was a crushing Roman victory, with Carthaginian losses estimated at 50,000 killed or captured. While Roman casualties were relatively light, Gisco fled to Africa and Mago fled to the Balearic Islands with the remnants of his army. To make matters worse for the Carthaginians, Massinissa, one of the Numidian kings, switched sides to Scipio and allied with Rome. Stealing away Hannibal's biggest advantage, the deadliest cavalry in the world.
Scipio, we demand you drive Hannibal out of Italy. No,
We need to cut the head off the snake and take Carthage immediately.
Then you will get no help from us.
Scipio sent out the call for volunteers, and 7,000 Romans joined the cause. Many of these men were survivors of Cannae and were eager to avenge their family, friends, and country. Over time, allies and clients joined Scipio, providing cavalry auxiliaries and 30 warships, growing his meager force into a veteran army of 35,000. These 35,000 men were all united with one purpose: destroy Carthage. Scipio launched his invasion of Africa, landing near Utica. He was quickly met by two armies, the Western Numidian king Syphax and his old foe Gisco. Scipio feigned peace negotiations to scout the enemy positions, then orchestrated a daring night attack on the enemy camps, setting them ablaze. When the enemy attempted to flee their burning camp, they were met by Scipio's army, ready to cut them down. 40,000 Carthaginians perished in the night assault. Now, with his path clear, Scipio would march on Carthage. There was now nothing standing in the way between Scipio and Carthage. The Carthaginian Senate sued for peace and offered gold, Iberia, and claim of Sicily. However, they secretly recalled Hannibal to defend the homeland and were just stalling for time. And it wasn't a moment too soon, because Hannibal had just returned home. Hannibal, the Carthaginian legend who had terrorized Rome for 16 years, requested the meeting, his one eye gleaming with hatred. Through gritted teeth, Hannibal offered the peace terms, but Scipio rejected them coldly. Hannibal and Scipio both rejected their offers of peace. These titans decided to gamble the fate of their empires on one final battle. As the sun rose over the dusty fields of Zama, the two armies formed up. Scipio commanded around 35,000 infantry and 6,000 cavalry. Hannibal fielded the larger force, 36,000 infantry, 4,000 cavalry, and 80 war elephants. Hannibal unleashed his elephants first, charging them headlong to shatter the Roman center and sow chaos among the legions. But Scipio had anticipated this. He arrayed his infantry in straight columns, creating wide lanes between them, where skirmishers harried them into a frenzy. Many turned back and trampled Hannibal's own cavalry into a blind panic. As the elephants faltered, Scipio's infantry surged. His front line hammered Hannibal's mercenaries, pushing them back into the second rank and creating chaos. Scipio sends his superior cavalry to take advantage of the chaos and charge into the Carthaginians. The Carthaginian cavalry is quickly overwhelmed by the Roman charge and turns to flee. The Romans give chase as Carthage's cavalry flees miles from the battlefield. Hannibal smiles. Everything has gone according to plan. He knew his cavalry was no match for the Romans, and he ordered his troops to lead them on a wild goose chase. So he commits his veterans and they all charge forward. Scipio notices that Hannibal is giving it his all. Quickly, he orders his second and third rank to charge, matching the Carthaginians. The fate of these empires will now be determined in one last clash. Will Hannibal's superior infantry defeat the Romans before their cavalry return? Or will Rome hold out long enough to envelop them? The battle was on a knife's edge for over an hour, when suddenly on the horizon, Scipio's cavalry came charging down the plains. Hannibal closed his eye and knew it was over. The Roman cavalry crashed into the rear of Hannibal's line, completely enveloping the army. The slaughter was immense, and Hannibal's forces crumbled under the weight of the Roman attack. Scipio had finally gotten his vengeance. Rome was now free from the Barcan curse. After the thunderous clash at Zama, the Second Punic War had ended. Carthage ceded much of their territories to Rome, and their navy was dismantled. They were forced to pay additional reparations, and Carthage became a shadow of its former self. Rome was now the undisputed empire in the Western Mediterranean Sea. Scipio, hailed as Rome's savior, returned home to a hero's welcome, celebrating a lavish triumph with spoils from Africa. There, he was given the title Africanus for his conquests in Africa, henceforth being known as Scipio Africanus, one of the greatest heroes of Rome. Hey guys, I'm Josh from Fringe Facts. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, leave a like and subscribe. And if you're interested in alternate history or animated history, click one of the playlists here.